Hello everybody, it's Nick here with Nick Tolman Music, and today we're going to go ahead and continue our beginner guitar lesson series using the Hal Leonard Guitar Method, Book 1. Let's get started. So today we're going to go ahead and take a look at page 27 here in the Hal Leonard Guitar Method, Book 1. Before we get started with today's lesson, I do want to remind you to head on over and check out my Patreon page. There are 3 great reasons you might consider becoming a patron of Nick Tolman Music today. The first reason is there is a lot of great exclusive content on there for you, including early access to lessons, exclusive videos, exercises, and other resources to help you out on your journey of learning to play guitar. The second reason is just to say thank you to Nick Tolman Music for the content that you're receiving here on YouTube. Maybe you've found these guitar lessons extremely helpful and you want to give back. You can become a patron for as little as $3 a month, and it's a great way to say thank you again for the content that you're receiving. And lastly, the third reason you might consider becoming a patron is accountability. That little monthly charge coming in once a month is a great reminder for you to get back on the train and make sure that you are keeping up with what you are working on guitar and holding true to the commitment that you made to learn. So head on over to Patreon, consider becoming a patron today. All right, so starting off here on page 27, we're going to start with a little discussion about key signatures. Now, key signatures is a really simple concept, but it also takes a little while to fully get used to it, I guess is the best way to say it. But what is it? What is a key signature? So at the very beginning of this lesson series, we talked a little bit about it. But a key signature is basically an indication of what key we are playing in. Now, there are all kinds of musical keys that we can play in. All of these keys use a different number of sharps or flats. Now, the key of C is a very basic key signature because it does not use any sharps or flats. So oftentimes this is a good place for us to start when we're learning guitar as far as learning notes and things like that. But in our last lesson, we learned about the note F sharp. Right? And this leads us to the key of G. So the key of G has 1 sharp. So if you were to start on a G note and just play up the notes, G, A, B, C, D, E, but use an F sharp rather than an F, F sharp, G. That would be a G major scale. So it's just from G up to G, walking straight up the notes, using an F sharp rather than an F natural. That is the key of G, all right? So a key signature is just an indication at the beginning of the music of what key we're playing in. So if you look at number 59 and number 60 on page 27, we notice that you have your treble clef symbol, and then you have a sharp symbol that is sitting on the F line, the very top line. This is telling us that in this song, whenever you play the note F, it will always be sharp, unless there is a natural sign marked. And that can happen, right? Sometimes you can have a natural sign within the song for various reasons. But in general, whenever you play the note F, it's going to be sharp if you see this. Now, that can be any number of sharps or flats. You might be in a key that has 5 flats. And every time you play the note B, E, A, D, or G, they're all going to be flat, right? At this point in the book, we're going to kind of hang out in the key of G for a while, so we're just kind of get used to seeing this, all right? Then obviously after the sharp sign, which is the key signature, we have the time signature, which says 4/4 time, and we've talked about the time signature in the past as well. So we have a key signature and a time signature. They're both just an indication of what's happening in the music. The key signature telling us what notes we are using or what key we are playing in. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into number 59, Shenandoah. So as usual, I'm going to go ahead and play this for you at 72 on the metronome, kind of a slow tempo. And then we'll talk about it. We'll do a little walkthrough before we jump the tempo up to a faster tempo. All right, so here it is at 72 on the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. All right, so there it is at 72 on the metronome. So let's talk about it. Really, this one is not branching out far from where we have been playing as far as difficulty in music. It's really just incorporating this new concept of key signature. And you'll notice that every single time we play the note F, whether it's up here or down here, it's going to be sharp in this song. All right. So starting out, we start out on beat 4, so the count in is 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got a tied note, 3, 4, 1. Another tied note, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. F sharp, right? It even has a little arrow. If you see that arrow, all it is it's just reminding you about the F sharp for the time being. That's not going to be there forever. Okay, so going into the second line, we've got this E tied, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and tied again, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1. We've got an F sharp here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3. Off. All right, when we look at this, like I said, this one really isn't branching out. There's not anything that's really vastly more challenging than any of the exercises we've learned previously. However, kind of some of the general concepts that you can use when you're working on this, which are going to be really helpful, is first, chunking. Just break it into small chunks. And whether you do that by line or you do like 2-measure chunks or whatever makes sense to you, break this into small chunks and make sure that you're getting practice on the various chunks, the various parts of the song, right? Now also when you're practicing, you don't necessarily always have to practice starting at the beginning and going to the end. Sometimes I find it really helpful to start at the end. So we're still kind of taking the chunking concept, but maybe you work on the last chunk first and build your way backwards. Sometimes I find this really helpful for actually learning the music. So I might start, I'll just take the last 4 measures, right? So we've got that tied note, so I'm going to start on beat 2 of the 4th to last measure, and just do. Right on. Across the wide Missouri. Right there. And practice that chunk as much as you need to until you're feeling comfortable with it. Then move back a little farther, right? So maybe then I start back on away, right on away on the third line where it says away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Oh, and maybe I struggle a little bit with that little lick. So then I bring that chunk even a little smaller. I dial in and I focus, right? So now I'm just going to practice on that movement. Right? As many times as I need to feel comfortable, and then I add that chunk to the first chunk that I practice, right? And continue this process, moving yourself back and back and back until you have the whole song learned, and that can be really helpful, all right? So let's go ahead and try the chords. So I'm gonna play at 72, and for the sake of this one, I'm gonna go ahead and do a strumming pattern which is down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, all right? Quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth. I know we haven't talked about eighth notes yet, but that's what's happening there. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. All right, let's give it a shot. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So there are a couple of things to be aware of when you're working on the chords on this one. First off, the chords are solid black. It does want you to practice these chords, right? They're not grayed out like we see in some other lessons. But the first thing that you'll notice is there's a chord in there that the book has not taught us, and that is E minor, right? It's a very simple chord fingering. You're gonna go ahead and place your second finger on the second fret of the 5th string. So again, second finger, second fret, 5th string. Your third finger is gonna go on the second fret of the 4th string, and then you're gonna strum all 6 strings. E minor, all right? Now, if you need to spend some time working on that chord, by all means, please do so. In general, this is a pretty easy chord. People don't usually struggle with this one. It's just a matter of remembering it. So when you see it, you know what to do with your fingers, all right? The other thing that we're gonna see on here that is new that we haven't seen before is we have some chords that are moving in 2-beat sections rather than having 4-beat sections. And what I mean by that is, in most cases so far, we've had chords that are lasting at least for a full measure, or maybe 2 measures, or 3 or 4 measures. But in this case, we have some situations where we change chords halfway through a measure, and so the chord is only lasting for 2 beats, which is no big deal. That can happen, it's no problem. You see it in the 3rd line. So the 3rd line, that very first measure, we're still on C from the previous measure, so we have 2 beats of C, 2 beats of G, 2 beats of D7, then 2 beats of G, and then we stay on G for the next measure, right? Now, if I'm not doing that strumming pattern, it would be something like this, just with quarter notes. Again, this is the 3rd line. We have 2 beats of C, 2 beats of G, 2 beats of D7, 2 beats of G, and then we stay on G to continue into the next measure. All right, I'll try it with the strumming pattern again. So here we go. 2 beats of C, 2 beats of G, 2 beats of D7, 2 beats of G, and continue on staying on G. All right, so whenever you see chords like that where there is a chord and then halfway through a measure is another chord, that's all it means, is that that chord is only going to last for the first half of the measure, and then you switch to a new chord. You could have, if you have 4 beats in a measure, you could have a chord on every single beat, or even subdivided. I mean, you can have as many as you wanted, really, but it's very common to see chords change halfway through the measure like that. But I think it's the first time we've seen it in the book. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump this metronome up to 120. This is a pretty good tempo for this. So this is quarter note at 120, and here's the melody of Shenandoah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and try the chords at 120 on the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And there it is, exactly the same, just taking it at a faster tempo. All right, so again, the process, if you are wanting to learn to sing this song, we have the words there. The first step is going to be practicing singing the melody while you play it, right? So, oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you away. It's a little high for me right now. You rolling river, right? Now, the reason we play the melody while we sing, this is to help train our ear to sing the melody. If you're really familiar with this song, you might be able to skip past this step or only maybe go through once or twice and not have to spend a lot of time on it. This particular step is really just to help you be able to sing the melody. The goal would be that you should be able to play that first note, hear it, and be able to sing the whole melody. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you away, you rolling river. All right, you should be able to sing that melody really without anything happening. And once you're feeling comfortable with that, then it's time to add the chords in. It's just a matter of hearing that first note. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you. Right? That's the idea. So, again, this one's a little outside of my vocal range, but these steps will help you to be successful. So again, if you're wanting to learn to sing, start by playing the melody while you sing it. Then try to take that playing step out. See if you can sing the melody, play the first note, and sing the melody straight through. If you feel like you're getting off somewhere, check the note and see if you are still on pitch. If not, go back to practicing with playing the melody until you're feeling really comfortable with that. And then the last step would be to start adding the chords and trying to play along with the chords. If you're struggling with the strumming pattern, go back to just quarter notes for a while. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you away. And even from there, once you're feeling pretty comfortable, again, you can start adding that strumming pattern back in places, taking it in small chunks, and building that coordination to be able to strum and sing. All right, lastly, for today's lesson, let's go ahead and take a look at Spy Riff. All right, so we're gonna start it at 72 on the metronome. I'll play it, and then we'll talk about it a little bit and go from there. So here it is at 72. 1, 2, ready, and play. 3, 4, off. All right. So really the whole purpose of this exercise is just to familiarize you with that low F sharp and getting used to just playing that F sharp because it's in the key signature, right? There's nothing fancy on this one. It's literally just kind of bouncing around on the low E string, and it does pop up to the A a couple times, but just we've got a low E, F sharp, up to the A, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp again, up to the A, F sharp, right? This one should be really no problem. It is not challenging. It's just working on that F sharp. All right, let's take the metronome up to 120. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in today. That is our lesson. As always, if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and we will see you next time.